about the book and how fun and exciting it is. So, welcome David Mullings to the floor. How do you come back?
No, you come here. Come in the history one, no? But tell us a bit about how we know each other, and then I'll get into the book stuff.
Alright, so apart from the Facebook friends and Jamaicans, of course, but David the other day just brought me in on a little something at Lionsgate, so big things about to go down on maybe the big screen. Can go and check it out in the movies sometime. So David has great interest in the book and for using it in production. I could say we had a meeting the other day, about 3 weeks ago, at Lionsgate, where we met with the head of Lionsgate to discuss doing a movie with the book. So,
Oh, wow. Our mother.
Our mother. So that's how yes, all right, enough said. This is David, now you can tell us something about something.
Alright, so I'm David Mullings. I was born and raised in Jamaica. Came here for college. Went to Broward Community College right down the road here, University of Miami. Went back to Jamaica. Came back, did my MBA at UM. One of the companies my brother and I started, run an investment firm. I'm based in Orlando. My brother is actually right here in Pembroke Pines. And so what we did is we created an entertainment company. We felt that it was important for Caribbean people to control their own destiny. So we shouldn't be depending on Viacom, for example, or random house publishers. One of the things we ended up doing was getting a deal with Amazon and Apple, so we could do digital distribution of books. So Kindle, iBooks, and we ended up signing a deal with the largest publisher in the Caribbean, LMH Publishing, a few years ago. Quite a number of books. Stacy reached out to me, and I think it's very important when we talk about self-publishers. Everybody usually starts out as a self-publisher because you get 10 rejection letters, 20, 30. Some of you just never bother, you just go straight into self-publishing. And she reached out to me on Facebook, and we've been in touch ever since. She's on the Jamaican Diaspora Advisory Board, working with the West Side. I was the first future dealer representative for the U.S. in Jamaica, representing Jamaicans under the age of 30. And when she reached out, she said, David, you live in Orlando, but can you come down here and host this book event for me? And I said, fine, I'll come. I made a promise. I drove down this morning from Orlando. I'll drive back tonight. But it was important to me when Stacey explained what she was going to be here for. It wasn't just for her, but there were going to be other authors that we could end up meeting, other self-published authors with really good content that we think could go further. It's one thing to write a good book. I think a lot of books can translate to the screen, be it small screen or big screen. Because of the way technology is today, thankfully, you can write a book, you can promote it on Facebook, you can promote it on Twitter, you can send it out via email to your friends, and they can buy it on Amazon. You'd never get into Barnes & Noble. But we have the internet as well. We could do a short film and put it on YouTube, or we could work out a deal with Netflix and turn it into a TV show. Which, by the way, the reason, we have a deal working out with Lionsgate now. So Lionsgate is going to be working with us to do a film lot in the Caribbean. We'll announce that in due time. What we're looking at, Lionsgate, for example. For those who don't know, Hunger Games, that's Lionsgate. Well, Mad Men is Lionsgate. House of Cards on Netflix is Lionsgate. Orange is Black. I mean, those are the things they do. And we want to show them that we have access to quality content out of the Caribbean. So Stacey wanted a meeting. Yeah. I was in LA for the meeting that she wanted to hang out. And I said, hey, guess what?
Inside the library.
It's too much trouble to figure out when we can meet around this meeting. Just come to the Lionsgate meeting.
Okay,
who am I meeting with the head of Lionsgate? Oh, I need to go back over and change my shoes. I need to do her hair. And she's like, I need to change my car. I don't know. They won't see the car. Parked in my garage, she'll never see the car.
Change my car.
She said, went to change the car anyway. So she came.
Lionsgate have to look proper from head to toe.
Well, and so there was real interest, and so it was important to me that I wouldn't just bring anybody to a meeting like that. It was the first time I was meeting the head of Lionsgate. The content in the kind of the book, but more importantly, the drive behind something. I mean, I've written books before, and I understand what it's like to have something eating at you, and you just have to get it out on paper. It's almost therapy. So when I was actually going to LA, I drove. I like when I hear that it's a train going to New York. I mean, 26 hours. My wife and I took 4 days with our 2 kids, a 2-year-old and a 6-month-old, 2 boys. And we drove from Orlando to San Francisco, spent 2 weeks there, and then drove back. And during that time, I was able to, about 8 books were read on the way. And my wife is convinced that she did an MBA during that whole time. But, you know, that's the kind of person I gravitate to, and I really felt that it was important for us to tell, especially stories written by women. And one of the fundamental reasons I wanted to leave this room and understand why is it's not because I'm married and because I really like women. There's one thing that I was taught. That's not the reason.
That's my motivation.
That's not the most important reason. I was taught in my MBA, and a lot of MBA people seem to forget this, but women control 80% of all purchasing decisions in a household. Period. So if you are not targeting women and have women working with you, you are missing out on 80% of the decision making. A man can only spend 20% of the money in the home. I promise you, no matter how much he brings in, women decide. So when she talks about that couch, and she hits the couch, there was a compromise because she got a granite everything kitchen, 440 square feet. That's because that was a compromise. The man got 20%, 80%. So we want to work with people like this, and so Stacey asked me to host, and I'm going to ask you some questions about this book. And what, I mean, the most important thing to me is why this story? Why did you write this story?
This story that was written in here was because I moved to California 7 years ago. So this is my first official visit to Florida, being here, woohoo, and all this. But my mother would call me all the time, and you know, she would call me most of the time fussing because my son is giving problems, trouble, or you know, my little nieces and nephews. So she would like call me and remind me of most of the time when I used to steal out of the house, you know, and the beatings that I would get, and you know, just being bad and the beatings. So I said, you know, I write something about that because you know, these kids today, they don't understand, you know, where we're coming from, how we were mannerable growing up back then. We had to be careful how we treat everybody who our parents were. We had to act in a certain way, or they could beat us and then take us to our parents, and you know, we can get another beating if that one wasn't enough, you know. So that's how I decided to just write it out. First time I wrote it was all in patois. So just like other people getting rejections and all that, I reached out to some people. I reached out to LMH, and they put me at the bottom of the pile and said they only had like 2 persons who translate well and write and read patois well to edit and stuff like that. So I got frustrated. I had it thrown down, you know, now and then I would go pick it up and get a good laugh out of it. Then one day I decided to send it to a couple of friends on Facebook, and they said, you know, I got their feedback. They're like, oh, we speak patois very well, but we cannot read and write it. So, you know, another breakdown. So what I did was to make an audio of the patois version that I had written, and then they were like, yes, man, you should, you know, in Jamaica when they're telling you to go forward, they say, run it! You know, so yes, man, run it, you know. It sounds good, but still, you know, maybe if you want to reach a wider audience, you're going to have to translate it. So I'm so deep rooted in the culture, and I'm like, oh, we not translate it, you know, because I don't want to lose my Jamaican-ness out of it, you know. So I had it thrown out again, and then another friend of mine from Facebook made me a Facebook page and says the book is going to be coming out, so look out for it. And all I know is my name was tagged to something. Everybody was like liking the page and like coming on my page and like, when is the book coming out? Where can we get it? And stuff like that. And then she's like, she gave the page over to me, and then that's how I had to give myself a time frame now to translate it properly. And what I did was to contact some of my friends from my graduate school. And they were English and history major. I was a history major also in English literature. And say, all right, if you guys help me to edit this book, I can put your name in here as an editor. You know, using your fellow man. You know, using your fellow man. I'm a student, and you know, and I'm self-published also. And then another friend of mine reached out to me and told me I'm pretty pleased that you can get it out there, man, and just make sure, you know, the edits are right. And so I called my friends up from school, and we met every morning at 8 o'clock before classes, and we would get to it. And I said, look, I don't want to lose the Jamaican sayings that I'm saying in there. I need to find a way how I can translate it on the same page, in the same line, so I don't have to make a glossary or a footnote for anybody to go to, because as a history major, having to read a lot of books. I know how confusing it gets when you have to go to a footnote to figure out what something is and then to get back to where you were. So I was able to translate this for you on the same line, and it's not confusing at all. You can follow along the same way. So in a nutshell, that's how the Jamaican Linguist, I remember when it was produced.
And I think one of the important lessons for that is that you have to know your market. Who are you actually targeting? And so she started out wanting to be as authentic as possible. Let me write a true patois book, which is like a Louis Bennett book. You can ask her. She sent me a tweet the other day, a public tweet, and I had to reply privately and say, you need to translate that in English, so I know exactly what you were saying. And so she goes back and she sends the same thing in a new tweet in standard English. And I'm good, now I can reply.
It's like Word. If you say you're from Jamaica, I just switch. You know, it's like I'm Word that way. You say you're from Jamaica, so I start typing and writing.
Right, and that's the thing. If you how you spell and how you write, patois is not really a written language, it's really a spoken language. So she had to now recognize that she had to change her audience, but it took a friend kicking her in her butt to actually go and change. So that's something I think a lot of authors can pick up from her is know your audience. And then use your friends. Other people's time is always important, just like other people's money. Start with their time first, and then they can go from there. What time frame does the book cover? I don't want people to
The time frame covers from age 7 onward to adulthood, and it looks at different aspects of my life, being raised by two of my grannies, one that lived in a fishing community and one that lived, what do you call it now, it's on a main street, like how you have the main library area here. Very nice. It's on the way to the grill. You ever gone in the grill? The beach, Yeah, so the grill is the beach area, but she lives like right in the middle there. So I talk about stories being raised between the two, It's like not good and bad, but
the contrast.
the contrast. So I had to learn from that and things that I picked up from them. And then I moved into going to high school, the challenges. We all have our family issues, and for me it was my dad. He's an alcoholic, and he has diabetes, and then he lost his job, and then you think you're going to get kicked out of school, and all those struggles. And I was going to a prominent girls' school in Jamaica, so it was an all-girls school, Franciscan system. So I thought I would have gotten kicked out of school because I'm not being able to pay the fees anymore, but due to powerful women, my principal, the teachers and counselors who saw my potential as a student kept me on, and that's how I got to finish high school. After that, it was all about reading, and my family faces a lot of stress on getting a good education, and that's been the drive to excel that way. So people would say, oh, she's show off because she's like a little know-it-all. In Jamaica, they say she knows. Because I was, because I would be in the debate team, I would be in the quiz team, I would be anywhere that has to do with something reading-wise or just academic. I was like on top of it, So that's the drive from. That's how I found my escape to get ahead and to not think about all those struggles.
All right, I think we should open up to the audience and then allow the next
questions.
So any questions for her?
So the book is about your life.
Yes.
Solely your life.
Yes.
From 7.
Yes. And the things that I did, I used to catch cows. I used to catch, go crab hunting. I used to cook on the beach and go to the sea and get those shell things that look like mussels and cook on the beach. So you'd walk with your packs and you water and everything. And we go to the Moros. Yes. So it's all about those fun activities. It's about my first time migrating to America, how my struggles were in adapting to the school system here. Because my GPA dropped to a 1.29, and then I got it up to a 4.0 and got university honors and all those good jazz. Hey. Wow. So, when I moved here, I had to learn to read and write all over again the American way. I was told by one teacher that I need to stop spelling the British way. It was too passive. I need to learn the active aggressive. I'm like, what language is he talking to me? I don't know what that is. You know, so what I did was to use the writing center. I lived there. I lived in the writing center morning, noon, and night. I had to learn this new way because I was failing, right? So I had no other choice. So I didn't give up when I see my GPA drop to a 1.29. Yeah. Yeah, I once had a 1.29. And, you know,
Well, I know you teach at high school.
I know I teach 3rd graders to 12th graders, math, English, chemistry, and some biology at the school district in California. But, yeah, I know that math has always been a challenge for me, and it was not until when I had to do pre-calculus and statistics that, you know, I had to pass the class, so I had to, you know, get into it. And it's not about giving up as a failed grade. It's about, you know, in Jamaica we say, we don't come again. You know, you reevaluate, so you see what you're not learning, and just take it from there. Get help. You know, it's not hard. People are there to help you, and the school provides it for you. I mean, use it up. You're registered for it. You're paying for it. You know, your kids are paying for it. Let them use it. Even if they don't have to go to the writing center, still send them to the writing center because they might be missing a point. And it can be cleared up there. You know, it doesn't hurt to have somebody else look over what you've written and give you pointers into how to improve it. It's not about feeling dumb. It's about improving yourself. And that's what I learned from going to school here. And now I'm so well, I think I'm well-rounded now to know 2 different sides of the coin.
Other questions?
Yeah, so I was wondering, I know this is for women, it's Women's Month and so on, but do you think this book would appeal to boys? your age group?
Of course it would appeal to boys. I mean, imagine.
He's basically a tomboy in the book.
Yes. Imagine. Yeah, who wouldn't want to go and discover all those things? I mean, I talk about places that we would go, you know, this is my aunt right here, and she would tell you, we would go to the Morris, and it was like, the beach was across the street from us, so we basically could walk to the beach. We didn't even have to go to the main Negro beach spot. And that's where we do most of the hunting, you know, because we know when it's crab time or mango season, you know, we go hunt mangoes. Hunt mangoes, big mango. It's the hunter in me.
She's a tomboy. Well,
But I get really excited, especially when I'm going to go catch crabs. I get really excited because, you know, people are afraid of it and you have to know how to position yourself and to pick it up, you know, or you'll get clamped. Yes. Yeah, and you know, but if you do get bite, you know, they say, you know, stick it in the eyes and it will let you go, you know. So, you know, there are little tricks to it, you know, and it's always fun. And back then, you know, we love to ride bicycles, and you know, it was a thing, learning to ride bicycle a lot because, you know, the shops were far away, but you know, we paid more attention then to our health because we would walk everywhere, you know. So I was talking to, you know, Donna yesterday. I was saying, you know, boy, we drive everywhere here, you know, but in Jamaica we have to walk a lot, you know. So it was fun back then because, you know, we had our famous spot that we used to go to, whether it's Miss Cosnell's shop, you know, Miss Meg, or, you know, we know all these people that we connected with, and boys could, you know, definitely love it. He loved it, and if he loved it, oh, guys.
any other questions? And then we can wrap up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sci-fi.
I'm a migrant, so I identify with a lot of immigrants because I'm from New Jersey and I'm all American. But your book, welcome, okay? When I hear stories like yours, and it's a little less history, it's more personal experience, it reminds me of hearing stories from my grandfather, you know, and they try to instill a lot of culture from their environment. You know, he grew up in Virginia, talk about doing different things, and I'm a suburban kid. You know, I was right in the streets, police cars, you know, things of that nature. And the stories were subliminally trying to maintain some culture in my generation. As a school teacher, because I'm a teacher myself, is your book used in the school, in there? And how does it work for, these children that has never been to Jamaica?
Oh, yeah.
You know, the biggies, Biggie
Yes.
Small. How does it work for Biggie?
Okay. Well, just recently I revised the book that is going to be used by the Juniper Intermediate School. So I have revised the book, and if you go on Amazon or so, you type in the revised version, the children-friendly version of the Jamaican Linguist. It's there and it's available for school because I had to revise it for the school that wanted it. So I had to supply them 1,500 copies of the book actually. So it is revised in the children-friendly version. And the fun part about it is that when I explain the language and the culture, there are also photos in there to tell you what I'm talking about, what I call certain things and what we use. And so it's easy to follow along, and they do get not only the imaginative, but the visual also going with it. So the book is revised, so for your kids, and it's available.
All right. We'll go on to-